Here's a mind-blowing conspiracy theory about the world ending in 2025. 3 years from now. 5 days ago, on June 3rd, during the French Open semifinals, a female protester invaded the court and tied herself to the net. And she was wearing a white t-shirt that read, "We have 1,028 days left." If you count 1,028 days from June 3rd of 2022, you'll get the date of March 27, 2025. Here's the crazy part. It coincides almost perfectly with the end of a yuga cycle known as the Kali Yuga. Every single major religion in every culture has its own apocalyptic event, right? The Norse mythology has Ragnarok and the Bible has the Apocalypse of John, for example. In ancient India, the Kali Yuga is considered the age of darkness, and it just so happens to be the same age that we all currently reside in. It's a period where moral virtue and mental capabilities are at an all-time low. We humans descend from a state of spiritual perfection and material abundance to one of ignorance and scarcity, with men and women losing touch and distancing themselves from spirituality and from the divine, and with diseases, natural calamities, anguish, anger, and fear of scarcity dominating our existence on this planet. It's a period of 2,700 years that started in 676 BC and ends in 2025. According to the Hindu tradition, the age of the Kali Yuga is comprised of materialistic people who are only concerned with the empirical aspects of reality, and their relationships with the spiritual realm is entirely governed by superstition and skepticism. Greed and wrath will motivate world leaders to feud amongst themselves. People will completely ignore the science of reason and become blinded by their own emotions, and leaders will deceive and guide the population towards falsehood and complete and pure darkness. So what if the French Open protester wasn't just addressing climate change? What if she also unintentionally gave us an accurate doomsday countdown clock for the exact day and year for when the entire human species will cease to exist?
You ever heard that theory how our souls decided how we look?
Our souls?
Yeah.
Oh, like it kind of formed us, like how the nurse decides our head shape?
No,
like
not even that. Not even that.
Oh.
Our soul, before we're put on earth,
Yeah.
there's a theory that we actually decide what we want to look like, and we get into that body that we want to be.
Oh,
so
like,
our self right now is what our soul truly wanted to look like.
Oh.
And the theory goes even deeper. The person you look like
Yeah.
is actually the face of the person you loved in your past life.
The face that I look like right now?
Yeah, is the person you loved in your past life.
What?
Yeah. So sometimes some people will look a little bit more feminine if they're a guy.
Yeah.
That means in their past life they were a guy and then they were in love with a girl.
Oh.
You get that? So let's say my past life wasn't even a guy.
Yeah.
What if my past life was a girl and I look like this because I'm the face of who I loved in my past life?
Nah, that's wild.
That's the theory. Like it's the perfection of beauty to you. And what if sometimes when people don't like the way they look or like they hate their image of themselves subconsciously is because...
Okay, stick with me, hear me out. This is kind of a conspiracy theory, but also might be an explanation for miscarriages. So I recently watched this TikTok that explained past lives and how kids can remember things from their past life and this current life that they're living in. Essentially, if you don't know what it is, basically you remember things from your past life in this life and you can explain like certain weird things that have happened in your life. So this theory could also explain miscarriages. So here we go. So unfortunately you die, let's say. Your soul then leaves your body on this planet and goes wherever it goes, and it's transporting to a new body. AKA, you're seeing the light. However, on the other side of the light is the hoochie coochie, you're coming out of it. But for whatever reason, your soul decides that it's meant to stay in this current body that you were in, so it leaves that realm. But you were supposed to be born on the other side. So now there's no soul to be in that body, therefore it's a miscarriage. And then your soul just comes back to your body on this side, and so you're like, oh, I saw the light. But in reality, your soul just didn't transfer over to the new body.
So I found these conspiracy theories that are so believable, they actually might be true. Number 1, studies show that cats understand human commands but don't care to follow them. Yeah, I don't like cats. I'm a dog kind of guy. Number 2, it is believed that when you die in a dream, you wake up because your brain doesn't know how to process the idea of what comes after death. Could be. I believe it. Number 3. Now this is scary. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Googled Disney Frozen, you would get information about the movie and not the websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. I mean, I did see an article about this that was published in 1995. Not sure if this is true or not, but I do believe it. This is where it gets freaky. Number 4. Mike Tyson's fight, time traveler. This fight was in 1995. If you look closely, you can see that could be a smartphone. In fact, it does look like a smartphone to me. There were no smartphones in 1995. This is how phones used to look like in 1995. They didn't have cameras. They barely had any color. But this thing double flashed, exactly like how an iPhone or an Android would take a picture. I don't know about time travel, but this is very interesting. I'd really like to know what this thing was. What's the creepiest conspiracy theory that you heard of?
Okay, this might not make sense, but just hear me out, okay? Does anyone else ever think about the fact that we are trained to believe life is like a circle and it's a cycle and we're constantly in cycles all the time? But in reality, it's more linear, like point of birth. You are just walking to death every day, which is sad, but it's just the truth, you know? But we are trained to believe that it is a cycle and a circle. Like, we are always waiting for Friday every week. New Year, it's the new fucking circle thing, okay, right? And it's so obvious. It's so fucking obvious that it's to help the economy, to help businesses, and keep us in this world where we're always working. Because think about it. You would be like, okay, I'll just do it this weekend, whatever, you know? For the cycle. But then if you lived your life based on linear life, you wouldn't wait till the weekend because you're like, I'm just getting closer to death, I'm gonna do it now. But that doesn't work in a business world, right? So yeah, and if you need more proof of that, what shape is the clock? A fucking circle. Feeds you into the idea of the cycle.
Conspiracy theory, we're already deceased. We are all deceased. Well, at least I am. And all of you are in my past memories, playing in my head before I pass away on to the afterlife. This plays along the lines of solipsism. What happens is, before we pass away, studies show we have about 7 minutes of brain activity before we finally go. During those 7 minutes, we are shifting through all of our memories and reliving our whole life, remembering everyone that I once loved and cared for, being a child, not a care in the world, to growing up to a teen, until we reach to an adult and then old age. No one can prove this theory isn't real, and everyone is an NPC in my past memories. The scariest part is we don't know when this memory will stop playing for forever.
Happy haunting.